Oh, it's another podcast episode, my friend Tori and my other friend Hickey. Do you guys have your fresh liquid beverage all ready for the cast today?
No.
I'm already drunk. You can just keep going. I drank like
Oh.
a liter of beer before coming here. It was my uncle's birthday. He told me to drink. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna drink a little bit. And he's like, sure, I have these half-liter cans. Go in. I'm like, shit. It's gonna be a fun one.
That is wonderful. Just coming off St. Patrick's Day. Did anyone celebrate being fake Irish for a day?
Fuck
Since
no.
Yes.
neither of us are Irish.
I
Fuck
did.
no.
I actually did. Well, when I drank some American lager and it was a green beer. When I drank it, it was 2 a.m. So technically, it was St. Patrick's Day.
Mm-mm-mm.
It was very good.
Well, I have zero Irish in me. Do you have any Irish in you, Hickey?
I don't know, probably, because I'm Brazilian. I have a little bit of every single country in the world in me.
So you're Portuguese.
I mean, for the most part, I think I'm Spanish, but we can, there's a lot of Portuguese as well.
Fantastic. Oh my god, this is going to be fun. We've hit a milestone, my people. We are at episode 20 for the Worldwide Weebs.
Whoa.
I just remember I lost a bet with Senpai. I need to pay him like $10. I thought we were just going. Yeah, I just remember. I thought, yeah, no, we're not going past 10 or 15. But we are at 20, so yeah. I'll pay you
Yeah, and
after
another
that, Joe.
milestone
Don't worry
is-
about it.
The Red Leaf Retrocast is approaching 50 in total episodes.
Impressive.
Damn.
And just imagining that every podcast episode is about 2 hours or longer, that's a lot of content you can listen to.
It's a bit.
Yeah. It's quite a bit. So, lots of stuff's been happening. I mean, I got snowed in for a day in Boston when I went to travel there. Tori, what have you been up to? You got some updates you yourself want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, before I get into that, I've been sick over this past little while, so if I'm a bit quiet on this
you
podcast,
too.
that's because that's that. Well, you too. Don't fucking you too me. I've had the flu, or I still have the flu, so I might be a little bit in and out, but hey, hopefully I'll be here. Hopefully I'll be ready. Hopefully I'll be somewhat sane. Well, at least not more insane than usual. But yeah. Let's go into some updates. I have some quest updates for you guys because we couldn't do that last time. But yeah, I've
Love me some quest updates. It might be my favorite recurring segment with you, Tori.
it's my only recurring segment with me, but okay. Well, I mean, up first, I watched the 2002 classic anime series known as Full Metal Panic. And
Hooray, FMP.
FMP indeed.
Did you just watch the first season?
I just watched the first season, yes, because I
So
go
what you're
year
saying
by
is
year.
you're not ready for Invisible Victory, which will come out this spring, 2018.
I am not ready for Invisible Victory, and I won't watch it when it come out. I'm not that big of a fan of this show. I watched the
What?
first season. I know. I
What?
watched the first season, and it's a good show. The way I explained it, I wrote this in my review, which you can find on my Mal, or you can find it on our Mal group, the Red Leaf Retrocast, Worldwide Weebs, and
Nice plug. Nice plug.
yeah, no. And what I essentially said is, like, what I appreciate about Full Metal Panic is that rather than, like, it doesn't try to be different than anything else that came out at this time. Rather, its goal is to be better than the things that came out at this time, which is fine. That is one way to go about writing your story. But the negative is that it also has a fuck ton of things that are typical for light novel adaptations of the early 2000s. A fuck ton of the exact same tropes that I have seen 50,000 times already. And they're not more fun here.
But you're wrong.
No, I'm not.
Ooh.
But yeah, nah. Overall, I did enjoy it. It's got some strong characters and it's got some strong action.
Did you like my rebuttal argument, Tori?
No, I didn't. You're
You didn't like
interrupting
that?
me. You're interrupting
Yeah.
me. And I don't appreciate this.
Hey, JD. That was a nice know you.
Thank you, Hickey. I knew you had my back on this episode.
You can count on me. Don't worry about it. I'm drunk enough to
Alright.
agree with you.
Yes! Need more drunk Hickey to be on JD's side.
No, you don't. Yeah, no, anyways, like, it's a fun show, it is, but I'm not in a hurry to watch anymore. I will watch more sometime, but meh. Other than that, I watched a couple things from 2002, actually, because originally, when I made this, I only had a movie on here, and I decided that I can't just watch a movie, that's wrong of me, that's cheating. So I wanted a series too, and actually I originally found an OVA, but then I was like, still not enough, so I put Full Metal Panic on here as well. But anyways, the movie I watched is Metropolis, and Metropolis, for those who don't know, is a movie. Well, it's a loose adaptation of a Osamu Tezuka manga that is loosely based on a 1927 silent German film.
Sure is.
So it was interesting. It was very interesting. It all takes place in this huge metropolis, and it's got a lot of themes of just like power abuse, discrimination, fucking yeah. It's a densely packed movie. Almost too densely packed, in my opinion, for its hour and 40-minute runtime that it has. There are a lot of things I feel like they should have fleshed out a lot more. Like, they like to focus on the robot struggle and the harassment of robots in this, but there's also an element of the humans, the lower humans, the humans that aren't like the top 10%, and their struggle and how they're literally being kept alive by people's goodwill. They can't even get work because obviously all the shit work that no one wants, robots does that. So they cannot even afford to feed themselves. But sadly, this is just used as throwaway stuff and happens in the background for the most part until a certain riot kicks in. But so it's I feel this movie probably would have done better being around 2 hours, so they could have focused.
I felt the same way when I was watching it.
Yeah, they could have focused a bit more on that. But other than that, I gotta say, it's a strong movie. Another kind of negative. This is more of a personal negative for me with the movie, and that is the Osamu Tezuka designs. I think they jar a little bit too much in consideration when you look at the backgrounds and whatnot. I feel I'm not a huge fan of Osamu Tezuka's designs to begin with, which is a personal.
Yeah, I was wondering how you'd
preference.
feel about the style of the characters and the art.
Yeah, nah. It's a personal preference, like I keep saying, but I felt like it jarred a bit too much for me. Granted, that said, stylistically, the show is fantastic. It's animated well. It's a well-animated movie. The music is actually really good. I really enjoyed the music. It added a whole different layer to the movie. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend watching this movie if you're at all interested.
All right, Tori, we seem to have we're on the same page with that one.
Okay. And the last one I watched, I'm not really going to mention much about this one. It was a 2-episode OVA. It was the last one I watched from 2002. And it's called Yokohama Shopping Trip, Quiet Country Cafe.
What the fuck?
What do you mean, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
Yokohama Shopping Trip, Quiet Country Cafe. This is it's a sequel OVA to Yokohama Shopping Trip, which was a late 90s OVA. This is early 2000, like I said, 2002. And it's kind of garnered a bit of infamy within certain groups of anime fans for being the most slice-of-life thing you've ever seen. It is actively about nothing. Actually, it's about an android It's about an android.
About nothing.
Yeah, it's about an android that's waiting. She runs a cafe and she's waiting for her master to return. Is he gonna return? Who knows? He keeps sending her letters. Where is she? Who knows? Who is he? Who knows? What is going on? Well, Yokohama has been because of natural disaster and global warming. Many land masses, including Yokohama, most of Japan has been rendered undersea. They're now underwater. So you can see remnants of the old city under the water and whatnot. But there's a lot less people. There are androids going around. You have a whole bunch of cool stuff that is absolutely never touched on. And this is done, at least from the anime's perspective, this is done on purpose. The reason for this is because, in total, these 2 OVA series are 4 episodes. Now, I cannot speak for the manga. This is based on the manga. So I'm not sure how it does there. I'm going to read the manga at some point, and maybe I'll give an update on that. But as far as the anime goes, the anime likes to throw in a whole lot of subtle little hints at something. Maybe. But it could be nothing. You have stuff like the fact that, obviously, we have a whole bunch of androids. Where did they come from? Who knows? That's not talked about. Why would they talk about their origin? They don't care. They're androids.
I vaguely remember you talking about this before now.
Yep. And you have things like the main android that we're following. She is, for some reason, armed. Why? There doesn't seem to be a harmful soul anywhere, so why is she armed? Who knows? And, like, there's just a bunch of stuff like that. You get, when she walks around and she's, like, taking pictures of her surrounding, we get to see, all the things, like, for example, when she goes up on a hill and she looks down at the water, and then you see lights in the water, and then, you get to see, like, buildings and whatnot and stuff like that. It's kind of cool. It's like, you could kind of, like, you get those, like, post-apocalyptic feeling from it, but, like, in a more peaceful way, not in, like, a zombie-infested or, like, war-ridden or nuclear war-ridden wasteland. It's just kind of, like, kind of a look at, like, we did this. We destroyed the Earth. This is what it looks like now. So
yeah,
this kind of brings up a question that I had yesterday.
Okay.
Does this show have continuity in it? Episode to episode.
It's fairly okay.
Even though it's episodic, is there any sort of
Yes,
can you tell time frame wise where an episode may stand with each other?
Time frame wise, no. Yeah, like the way it works. Okay, yes and no. The first OVA really has no sense of continuity whatsoever. We get to see her doing individual tasks or individual things. In the second OVA, she ends up, because she is trying to. I don't actually remember why. She's looking around for something, so she ends up leaving. So you kind of have the episodes are essentially structured as before leaving and after leaving. Okay. So in that sense, yes, but they're not that concerned about, because it's not an overarching story. Let's put it that way. It doesn't.
So it's just enough to let you know that the next episode takes place after the previous one.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's kind of what I'm talking about here.
Okay.
Yeah, because I won't name names of series, but I have watched quite a few episodic series recently where they don't even do that.
Well, they
essentially kind of bounce around, and you don't really have any idea where the episode stands, and that's a real problem when something such as backstory of a character, even in a 2-part episode, kind of impacts what the series is doing in front of you.
I kind of disagree with that, because I don't think that a narrative needs to be structured that way. I think you can structure a narrative. Essentially, it needs to. The way it's hard to do because it needs to come together at the end, but you don't need a structured narrative. It doesn't need to go from A to B. I don't feel like that has ever been a point. I mean, I can just name drop, like, as much as I ended up kind of falling off of was Concrete Revolution for the second season. Okay. I thought the first season was fantastically done in the way, and that had absolutely no sense of. I'm not going to say no sense of narrative structure, because that's incorrect, but it threw a lot of people off for the fact that no 2 episodes were concurrent. You never got like one situation and then next episode you got what happened after. It was something that happened, then you got something that happened before that, and you got something that happened maybe later until it eventually reached the end where it was back at that first point again. And then, because apparently they got a lot of complaints for that, they for the second season,
because it's a major problem.
No, but like
that's not a major problem. Why is it a problem?
It's not a major problem because in Concrete Revolution you can see that they show stuff out of order, but you can see that every single episode is the cause and effect of another one. So that is fine in Concrete Revolution. I think my opinion on the episodic... You please ask your question.
So what you're saying is there are elements taking place in an episode where you yourself, the viewer, can piece things together accordingly in a timeline.
Yeah, like...
Kind of like...
Okay.
Like, so that reminds me then of Kara no Kyokai. Guard the Sinners.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's fine, because then there's things that tells you a timeline to put... What I'm saying is, what if there's... What if a series doesn't quite even do that?
You know, that's...
Is it still okay?
That will be the example I would give after the Concrete Revolution.
Okay.
Because my opinion on episodic shows, or kind of a little bit of Tori's and a little bit of yours, I think it doesn't need to have a sense of continuity, but you need some elements to identify where it's taking place. So my example would be No Non Biori. No Non Biori, it is a Moe show, but it is an episodic show, and it has 2 seasons. You have No Non Biori and No Non Biori Repeat. What happens is, in No Non Biori, you had like those kids in a year of of school, and you know, in the countryside, and in the second season, it is the same, of the same year, of the same kids. So like, oh, okay, they're showing me other parts of the same year, but it doesn't mean that episode A came like the happenings of episode B are after the episode A. No, it's not that. It is random pieces of interesting relations and kind of interactions of the characters throughout an year or throughout 2 years even. So, you know, even that, it is a sense of continuation. It doesn't mean episode A is before episode B, but I know there's a sense of continuation that every single story I'm seeing is from the same year. You know, for me, that is enough. I don't need more than that.
What if it didn't have that?
Well, I mean, you're essentially saying, what if it's bad? That's not really a argument.
I didn't say that. What would it be bad if it didn't have it? That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, because ultimately, I feel like as long as you can make sense of it at the end, it's fine. I don't think you need to be able, okay, I see. So this thing specifically happened 3 days after that episode, and I don't feel like that's not a purpose. I don't need to be able to sit down and look at a calendar and say, okay, that it happened there. I see, and that happened there. Yeah, no, that I don't need that. What I need is ultimately does the story make sense in the end? That like, can I now sit there and say that I got why things happened and how it would progress to this point? Yeah, but it doesn't need to have any sort of like, I need to be able to tell time, because let's be real here. Even in a lot of structured narratives where they go from point A to point B, you have absolutely no clue over how long this story takes. It could be a week, it could be a year, it could be 10 years. Usually art isn't 10 years, but like, they don't really. Most shows don't really give the time of like the happenings all that much consideration.
Yeah, but you kind of have a sense. Okay, so
hang on.
You kind of have a sense of events.
JD, your question, like right before that, you said, "Oh, if it didn't have those kind of subtle hints that the time span it's taking place, would it still be good?"
Right.
It kind of depends, because we're gonna get into this. We're gonna get into this later, because we're gonna talk about some bad habits of anime fans or whatnot. But I would just take a step back and say, okay, for me, a good episodic show is a show that gives me slightly hints on the time span it's taking place. But they're not doing that. They're legitimately doing a story per episode. Okay, I would just analyze the episode, not the show, because every single episode would have a beginning, a conflict, and an end with an answer to that conflict. For me, that is fine. Instead of analyzing a 12 episode show, it would be just like watching 12 OVAs with the same characters. You need to be this sense of criticism inside of your head, because you go, oh, okay, but every single episode was cool. It had beginning, a conflict, and a solution to the conflict. But on episode 12, they didn't do anything. It was just an episode show, thus it's bad. No, it's not. They told me 12 stories, 12 closed stories, and not one single story or like 2 or 3 arcs, as the Japanese like to do in arcs, those stories in arcs. They didn't do that.
Hickey.
What?
You're a genius. You just reminded me. Mushishi's famous for exactly that type of story.
Yeah, because and Mushishi is a special case, because everyone who watches Mushishi is not watching Mushishi because they want to see the ending. They want to see every single episode. But for some reason, some shows people cannot do that. They cannot take a step back and think, oh, maybe this show is not going to a grand finale. It's not trying to tell me anything. It's trying to tell me a moral, trying to teach me
right.
a little thing every single episode. And if the show can do that, although I don't like this kind of narrative structure, I think if you want to do episodic, I think you need to have subtle hints of where the time span is, and also have something to link the episodes, so I can have the last episodes with the major conflict that which were being built in the past episodes. But if they don't do that, it is fine, as long as they do the closed narrative per episode and do a good job.
I'm gonna put it this way. I have no problems with episodic anime. The only problem I have with episodic anime is when it becomes a monster of the week type situation. I hate that, because that is at that point you're essentially sacrificing all sorts of fucking story progression of any kind to simply have it. Will the main character defeat this bad guy this week? The answer is always yes.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I was going, and I liked your Mushishi reference there, because that goes into a conversation I like having, a comparison between Natsume's Book of Friends and Mushishi, how they're two elements of the same show that tackle a narrative in different ways, such as the first season. This is just my take on it, of course, where Natsume's Book of Friends season 1 seems to have a beginning, middle, and end to the series, but also tackling things in an episodic manner. That's what, while season 2, 3, and so on seems to change that fact into what Hickey was saying, where an episodic show will just have a singularity episode where that just has a beginning, middle, and end, and you might have some character development there, as minor as it could be. Very different to what Mushishi does, where you can link events together, I think more easily, just in a quote unquote time frame. But the episodes themselves are more deeply raveled in that specific narrative. Does that make sense?
I would disagree about the whole time frame thing in Mushishi, though. I mean, you can tell there's certain things you can tell kind of what time of year it is. Like, is it winter? But I mean, I wouldn't exactly say there's nothing that specifically gives us okay, and now he left there and he went on and then he got there.
Yeah, but Mushishi is a special case.
They've had multiple episodes where they go back. They've had multiple episodes where they go backwards as well.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, now this happened way before. It's like fucking Ginkgo wasn't even born yet, or Ginkgo was a child, or Ginkgo was like.
But Mushishi is a special case because not telling you what time is it or when it's taking place, it is kind of it's kind of part of the story and kind of part of the charm, because the Mushi, which is like the spirits, they are timeless. because they are spiritual beings. So like not telling you when the story is taking place kind of makes the charm of it. That just like the mushishi is also a timeless thing. You know, it is a timeless occupation. You don't care about time because as much as you grow as a mushishi, you start to realize how time and how life is progressing, but it is not the point. You're not here to look at a clock, you know. So I guess Mushishi is a very special case where it works. The narrative it works in a weird way in Mushishi.
It does.
Yeah. You guys bring up the points I wanted.
But even
to
for example,
with that question,
JD, you like what is Gintama? You like Gintama? Gintama is very.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, Gintama is very episodic, but you have some stuff on each episode that you can figure out when it's taking place. You know, especially because it is divided.
There's at least a little bit of continuity. You know, you're not going to see a character you don't recognize, and then 50 episodes later, the show doesn't pretend you're meeting them for the first time.
Yeah, so like, it is good. That is a good thing to do. You know, that kind of episodic is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
But you know, if the show knows what it's doing, and you know, it usually depends on the story and the director and the studio, but you can get those you can even get Monster of the Week doing right, you know, doing in a way that doesn't feel repetitive.
Yes, I think the most important thing to take away is just like when I say I don't like something or whatever, that's just, or like when I say I don't think that's done well or it's never done right, that's my opinion. That's what I think. I don't like the idea. I don't particularly like the idea that like there's a certain type of story or a certain like type of story beats or that is incorrect and will always be bad. If you get somebody who's good enough at it, they can make a good story out of it.
Yeah, it's just always very interesting to see how a show tackles this question with me, because if it starts to contradict to me how like what it wants to do, whether it wants to do a Monster of the Week, whether it wants to do a mystery type narrative like Mushishi, or kind of an overarching narrative with episodic elements like Natsume's Book of Friends, if it starts to clash with those ideas, those writing styles, that's when the show just, it becomes a problem with me when I have to look at each episode and try and figure out, okay, is that this narrative? All right, so now I have to break down this episode this way. Otherwise, I won't be able to enjoy it like most people would, just be like sitting there and turning their brain off, so to say.
Well, yeah, but again, then we're kind of back to that whole like about bad writing, because at this point it's like it's writing without a plan, right? You don't know where you're going with this. It hasn't been properly, like your idea hasn't been properly fleshed out. So you're like, to put it as bluntly as possible, making stuff up as you go along.
Yeah, it becomes an issue for a viewer like myself.
Yeah, like Tokyo Ghoul, for example.
Tokyo Ghoul's notorious for that. That is a great example.
And that isn't even...
Season 1 was shonen, like, gore porn entertainment. It was palatable to watch. Then you turn on Season 2, you watch Episode 1, and you're like, alright, this might be most of the same thing as Season 1, cool, I'll give it a try. And then it just crumbles to the ground like an 8.0 earthquake.
Yep. I mean, that's not even an episodic show for the most part. It has an overarching story, but like the problem with that is just simply the author of that manga. He has completely run out of ideas, and he is now making spin-off mangas and other things where he's trying to rewrite the story because he has no idea where he wants to go with this. Like, you can write as much as you want, but ultimately, if you don't know what you're doing with your story, you're kind of stuck.
Yeah, just for context, this question was brought up from a couple shows I'm watching this season and a couple older shows I've been watching, such as what we're covering in the next episode, Akage no An.
Yay!
Well,
yay!
I
gotta
will
buckle down and
refrain of
finish
talking about Okage no En. Especially
Yeah,
how the time goes.
We'll refrain, but
Yeah. Next
But
episode,
that
it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be an awesome cast. The next one, I
oh my
know
god,
for sure.
Masterpiece Theater and Akage no En. Oh, I'm looking forward to that cast. Probably more than the hentai episode, actually.
I don't know, man.
Even though the hentai episode is quickly catching up to our most downloaded podcast episode of all time.
People like their porn.
People like their porn. All right, so we're running long. We're running a bit long here. I really like that question that I posted for our and that was a long opening update, but that is okay. Yeah. That's good because we needed to kill some time here for this episode because we don't have too much to talk about, but yet we do. Does that make sense?
No, move on.
All right, moving on.
No.
All right, Tori. So this was your talking point idea. I'll let you move into our discussion.
I mean, this was my ideas based on what me and Hickey and have mostly been talking about and just the going ons. Exactly what's happening. I'm not too familiar with who it is, but for the first thing we want to talk about is celebrities like anime now.
Yeah, apparently that's a thing.
Yep. You might have heard about it.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Drake like Fortnite.
You might have heard about it.
This is just
You might have. You might have heard about it. You might have seen people, all over the place. Kind of, if you paid attention to like fucking movies, Western movies and whatnot, classic movies, you can see in some of them there's been, some of them have come out and it's been not that shocking that they like anime because there have been subtle hints in their movies that, for example, that they like it. And some people have always been honest about it, but now since anime is gaining more and more mainstream, it seems like it's the cool thing to do now to come out as an anime fan. So you have people like what was it?
Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian came out. Yeah, came out and say as an anime fan, and probably a whole bunch more.
Michael B. Jordan's one of the most prevalent going around right now. For those that don't know, he played Adonis Creed in the Rocky sequel Creed. And he was in that, movie Black Panther. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. I don't think it made a lot of money.
Nope.
Probably not. It's not whip shit. It doesn't make so much. Well, I mean, whip shit also doesn't make money, but still.
Another celebrity that likes talking about anime is the Oklahoma City Thunder NBA player Steven Adams.
Yeah.
He goes on interviews quite a few times, but the most prevalent interview he had was at halftime when he was wrecking shop underneath the hoop, you might say. The paint was his, and one of the reporters goes up, "So I hear you like watching anime, is it?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, nothing you've probably heard of, but I like watching a little bit of Naruto before every game." He's this big Australian dude. And he just gets me amped up, it makes me believe in myself.
That is
this is
just
a 7
awesome.
foot dude. This is a 7 foot NBA dude talking about watching Naruto pregame.
I don't remember the name, but you have a NFL player. You had an NFL player, but he hurt his knee and started wrestling. He went to
Moose.
Moose?
His name's Moose.
Oh no,
I think that's who you're referring to.
Because I know his Twitter is like Big Black Otaku, and he.
Oh, okay. You're thinking of that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. He's such a cool dude. Like, he's really cool. He's a cool one. I like him a lot.
Yeah, one of his finishing moves is guys on the corner, and he runs at you full speed, throws his knee into your face, but before he runs at you, he goes Nico knee.
Oh, that is bad. Fucking love life, and I don't like you anymore. Convert to I don't mess it, and I'll fucking make a Twitter and follow you just because of that. Oh, fucking Nico's.
Needless to say, he doesn't
cool.
show up on TV.
Oh, that is sad. Anyway, yeah. Let's go on introducing the topic, Tony, so we can still keep going with the hype.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you can clearly see that liking anime is not like it was for a lot of people before, where that was something you had to keep secret, and you got beat up because of it. No, it just seems to be. No, where were you when I was beat up? But
yeah, exactly.
However,
not for being
as one might understand, a certain someone on Twitter. Called, you might have heard of it, this guy. He's kind of a big anime YouTuber. He goes by the name of, his name is Joey, but he also goes by the name of the Anime Man. He made a little bit of a joke on Twitter because of this. Something along the lines of, all these celebrities coming out right now. We have, all these celebrities coming out as anime fans right now. Like, essentially making a Pixar didn't happen joke. A show me your Mal profile, or I don't believe it. Or I won't believe it. And any Twitter blew up with hate for this. Seemingly innocent joke. And you have people like Miles from Crunchyroll tweeting at him with disappointment over his gatekeeping over the anime fandom. And I just gotta say, people need to fucking relax. Holy shit.
People need to make more sex,
bro.
You have better things to do in your life.
We're talking about a Pixar didn't happen joke.
Yeah, definitely. And like that is not even gatekeeping. You know, gatekeeping is what people made with Michael B. Jordan, because he went out and said, "Look, I like anime, and my favorite anime are Naruto and One Piece. There's nothing wrong with that." And people start calling him fake or whatever because he liked Naruto and in One Piece. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. That is gatekeeping. For me, like, going out and said, okay, show me your mall page, or it didn't happen. This is not a matter of gatekeeping. It is a matter of respect and acknowledgement. I want to acknowledge you as being part of the thing I like, liking something I like. So, for me to respect you, I need to know how much you know. It is kind of thing. It is not gatekeeping. Gatekeeping is get off my fucking lawn, you piece of shit celebrity. That is wrong. That is what they did with Michael.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I feel like it becomes a problem, right? Because I saw a lot of people, not just Miles, but a lot more people. People I personally followed and known and honestly thought weren't that easily bothered. They never seen it before, but all of a sudden they were flipping shit like somebody just said that the fucking, I don't know, Nazi Germany was invading. I don't fucking know. But like this is
that's quite the reference to make.
I know, but that is how like they were reacting. They were honestly appalled that somebody could make such outrageous comments on the internet. And I'm just sitting there like, maybe it's all my business to 4chan, but I'm just sitting there and I'm like, really? Did he say something bad? It's like, I don't get it. But I mean, we're talking, and I see this, somebody brought up, I don't remember who it was, somebody brought
Tori,
up
I think you're missing the point of, the point is, don't fucking mess with Black Panther.
Yes, absolutely. But somebody made a really good point.
Wakanda forever.
I have to just, I don't remember who said this, but somebody said that it was idiotic how people keep anime YouTubers whole anime YouTubers like Joey to such a high regard that they have the nerve to go to this guy whose job it is to just talk about his hobby and happen to have a bunch of people who wants to listen to him, that they now said he cannot go online and say his opinions or say what he thinks because, I don't know, it might hurt the brand he's supporting. Fuck off. We're talking about a regular dude filming videos about himself, saying whatever he thinks about whatever he wants to talk about for a living.
Yeah, the kind of visceral reaction made it seem like it was Logan Paul in a suicide forest recording people hanging themselves.
Not even that. It's like fucking. I was about to say it's like if the president of America came out, but I mean Donald Trump kind of does that already, so that kind of nullifies that. But I mean, like, You
Can't even make that argument anymore.
Let's say, fuck it. Let's say if Angela Merkel came out and was just like fucking, yeah, fuck shit. You fucking, I don't care about all those fucking African countries. I don't care about immigrants. Fuck y'all. Like, you're having that reaction over a dude on the internet. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, but like,
they say that these are the same people that say that we shouldn't hold anime YouTubers to such high regard, but at the same time, as soon as they open their fucking mouth, you're all of a sudden saying that they're treating them like their word is somehow has any sort of
the gospel,
just because they happen to have a million people who like listening to them talk shit. I don't know.
Yeah, no, definitely. We joked about it as well when it happened. I remember I was like, "Where were you when I was being bullied?" You know. Because seriously, I think it is something that we always talk about it with like the modern fandom of anime, that you cannot say anything bad. But like now, when something like that happens, especially with YouTubers, it's like they are living the moment. You know, they always wanted anime to be mainstream. They always wanted to go out screaming, "Oh, I love anime," and everyone, you know, clapping for them. That's not gonna happen. Most of people is like, "Yeah, I watch it. I watch it as well." And you know what? Fuck you, because that is basically every single one outside.
Yeah.
But like, I think it is important that people were coming out and saying they are anime fans. But you know, I've been an anime fan my entire life. I got bullied because of that. I got beat down because of that. And I look at a country who, first of all, doesn't like foreigners. We always need to reinforce that. Japanese people don't like us. But still, you know, but there's a high regard to honor. And when you embarrassing us something, you don't talk about it. You just get silent. You do your thing, but you don't go out saying, "Yeah, I love it." So for me, like, when you like something,
it's funny how video games used to be that way, and
yeah, like if you like
then
something,
all of a sudden it became mainstream. So it looks like anime is kind of heading in that same direction.
Yeah, but like
It is.
even with video games, when you like video games, you would go out and say, "Yeah, you can beat me up. I'm not stop liking it." You know, but if you like video games and you didn't like it, like you didn't like the reaction of people, or you liked anime and didn't like the reaction of people, you just, you know, say sometimes, "Yeah, I like it," but, you know, don't talk a lot about it. For me, like, going out and doing cringy stuff as it is happening, it kind of hurts the community and also reinforces a stereotype we don't like seeing. So, like, for me, it is good
People
because
are visceral, man.
I know as someone who's going to become a lawyer that I'm a public person. I cannot go out and, like, when I take my actually lawyer license, I would stop swearing in the podcast probably, because I'm a public person. I cannot do that kind of thing. You know, I cannot go out and post in hentai and shit, because that would affect my profession. That would affect my living. You know.
Yeah.
That
How the
happens.
feeling,
So,
man?
you know, so like I understand the celebrities. I understand that they saying it now because it is the time of saying that. But you hide it your entire life. If you hide it the entire life, please don't go out with a bang. You don't need to do that. Just calm down. Go slowly. Just don't do anything crazy, because you're gonna see as someone who really does enjoy things, and it is just using the recent popularity of anime to become more popular, and that is bad. That is bad for the community. And it is bad for the same person, you know. And of course, there's the other side, which is the community. You have gatekeeping. I'm not here saying that gatekeeping doesn't exist in anime, especially because I do gatekeeping. I'm still the old kind of fan. I don't like newer fans of anime. I can say openly, I don't like newer fans. If I start talking to someone and I realize they don't know what they're talking about, I simply stop talking to the person. Because I'm not sitting here tolerating people who doesn't know who they're talking about, doesn't feel like learning what they're talking about, and doesn't feel like actually, talking. Just they want to be listened. They don't want to talk with you. I'm not here tolerating it. So sometimes, yes, I do gatekeeping, but I think you cannot do gatekeeping just because the person is a celebrity or is popular or is famous. I think this part I condemn, but I do agree with the joke Joey said. Post me your my enemy list, or I will not respect you. I will acknowledge that you like anime, but I won't respect you as a fan. I won't respect you as an equal being, because as Senpai likes to say, respect is not. You not ask for respect. You earn respect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've just got to say this as well, since I brought up the thing with like whether the thing with oh my god, I'm blanking. Why? I brought up the Jesus Christ, what is going on?
And I'm the guy who drank.
This is the sickness. No, this is the sickness talking. This is
sure
actually
about
the
it.
sickness. You know what? Never mind my opinion. Move on. I fucking. Oof.
Hey, at least you don't have the British
that's
accent.
How I was yesterday, just watching wrestling. It's like I can't think. I'm just gonna watch dudes beat up each other all day.
You lost my British accent. It was quite fun. You should be.
All train of thought is gone.
Yeah.
Well then, guys, I guess I'm gonna have to leave the next topic off to you.
Yeah. So there was
JD, next
some
topic.
Anime News Network controversy, guys.
There was.
Yeah.
Oh no! No one.
I told you to take it, but okay, fine then.
No one sent me an invoice, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Fine.
Fine.
Jokes.
For those that don't know, A&M recently came under fire for allegedly not paying their writer, or one of the freelance writers they have, who I think it came out that was Kevin from Sakugaboru, and they obviously this situation is, in my opinion, something that has been blown more out of proportion than it should be, and two, kind of also shows a bit of a flawed system. And why is it bigger than it should be? Why is the problem bigger than it should be? Because this not being paid was actually something that could be solved very easily if he just would have bothered, contacting Anime News Network and having it fixed. Because it turned out that the reason he hadn't got paid was because he never sent an invoice to the company, which A&N is a company that basically, for all their freelancers, they require all their freelancers to send an invoice, and within 30 days of them receiving that invoice, you will be paid the amount that they promised. So, they could have done that, but this was decided to be taken publicly. He decided to take this publicly and take it to Twitter, and rather than taking it up with A&N first, which I don't agree with. I'm all for going public with something if somebody is treating you like shit or not following, the rules or the law even. But it shouldn't be your first instinct. You shouldn't go, I didn't get paid. Well, time to go to Twitter. It's like, try to solve it with the company first, please. It's not necessary. It creates a situation over a mistake. It creates a situation way bigger than this mistake required. Now, the reason why it became even bigger is because apparently there's a lot of freelancers that never got paid, or at least they claim they never got paid. We can never, unless they provide proof, we can never know if they're actually being legit or if they're just, lying. But if they're correct, there's a lot of people that didn't get paid. And I think this kind of shows a problem with A&N, where if they're legit, it seems like a lot of their writers don't actually know that they need to send an invoice to get paid. And that then falls on the company. Because when they hire freelancers, they need to make sure that their freelancers know what they have to do. in order to get
right,
paid.
They got to make their contract clear upon assignment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you can't just like expect them, but I feel that's a lot of business in America. It's like people expect that they know. Like you don't need to be told. You should know this.
Coming from a person who works in America and has worked in a couple other countries, America is the one that definitely makes it the least clear about what's in a contract. So you yourself, the worker, have to take it upon yourself to read everything. Whether it's assignment papers, whether it's a contract to lease, whether it's a contract to work, even termination papers of any kind. Read that shit, because companies will, especially in America, try to fuck you over and not have to pay you.
Yeah, and I feel like that's obviously what I mean when I say that kind of highlights a problem, because, like, I mean, I can only speak for the way things work here. And the way I'm so lucky to live in a country where whether or not the person that's employed with you or work freelance with you or is paid is ultimately the company's responsibility. You can't blame the worker for not being paid. Mistakes happen, but like you can't blame the worker's not to blame. You don't go, well, he didn't fulfill his part of the bargain. If you have done any work for somebody, you have to be well, I mean, not quite true, but like if you have done any contracted work or anything, you should be compensated for that. If you're not compensated for that, that then falls on the company for not having compensated their worker. So but the way I understand the whole invoice thing, and I mean, I've talked to Senpai about it as well, and he does not like invoices, and the way he explains it is, it's a system almost made to, like, in a hopes that people will forget so that they don't have to pay. Like,
no, it's by no means a nice system in any way. It is the way that most companies do operate.
Sadly.
Yeah, I mean, every company I've worked for since I graduated college does this. Whether it's again your contract to work for a certain customer. You yourself, the worker, need to ask HR, and more often than not, HR doesn't know their own position or what they themselves have to do to make it clear to you what you need to do. So you have to. It's a shame that you yourself, worker, have to go beyond that initial meeting to go above them to just get what you need out of your job. So, for example, last company I worked for, if I went to Alberta in Canada, or if I went to Colorado for a mining operation, I need to take it upon myself to call even the customer at the site. Like, okay, is this what you're expecting out of me? This is what I'm expecting out of you. There's no middleman to just make that conversation easier. And if there is, they just don't know what they themselves are doing. It's just a person in a chair at that point. So yeah, as you said, Tor, as you mentioned, it is a system in place to just hopefully the contractor or worker either forgets, doesn't do it correctly, misunderstands something in the contract. It's so flawed it hurts, and it's not new by any means. It's been going on for decades. No,
I've seen that. Like, I mean, in fact, I follow Mike Toole on Twitter as well. He's worked a lot of freelance over the years. Mm-hmm. And that guy, he kind of went and chimed in on this as well. He wasn't so much cracking down on A&N as he shouldn't be, but as he was just kind of lamenting this problem, because he's been working freelance since like the 90s. He's been working freelance for a long time, and he said it himself. He's had to do a lot of invoice stuff, but it's sad the fact that they're so open. Like, there are so many companies that are just openly ready to admit that, yeah, no, we really don't want to pay you for this work. We're actively making it harder for you to get paid. Like, we don't want to pay you anything if we don't have to. But
it definitely is a problem.
I mean, yeah. And just to kind of put into perspective how different it is where I am, I was recently at an interview for an internship. For an internship, and at that interview, they broke down to me how, like, exactly how I will get paid, because being an intern, there are some special rules, including like how you will be paid and the amount you will be paid. And they sat down with me for a good 10 minutes just to, and this, if they choose me, of course, I will also get this in the contract, but just to kind of explain it to me and make me properly understand how the pay scale for an intern works. And essentially it's like 30% for the first half year, 40% for the second half year, 50% for the third half year, and 80% for the fourth half year. And it's like, it kind of goes to show like a bit of difference there, because here companies are afraid that if they don't pay, or if they don't do this properly, they're in trouble. So they have to make sure that I understand exactly how this works.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, if I may have my country, the labor law here says that you can work as a freelancer, but it's not on invoice. Basically, you need to warn the person who contracted you that the job is done. I'm gonna work as a freelancer most of the part of my life, and basically what I need to do is say, look, I did the job's done, pay me. If the person doesn't pay, it is a contract. I can go to the justice, and I go to a judge and say, they didn't pay me, I have the contract, it is signed, and the judge will immediately go to the other person's bank account, take the money, and then give it to me. It is simple as that. It is simple as that.
Yeah.
So lots of different things going on here.
It doesn't need to be in the contract because it is in the law. The law says if you don't pay, it doesn't matter if the person warned you, like if they did the job, if they did the job, if they ask you for the payment, it doesn't matter. What matters is the job is done. And with Anime News Network, it is a goddamn news site. They are hiring writer freelancers when they know when the job is done because they received the text. So they should pay the guy at the moment they receive the text. They can like say, oh, we're gonna pay you in 30 days. This is fine. But in the moment they receive the job done, the job is done. So you should pay the person. Yeah. You shouldn't wait them to give you the text and then ask for money. This is it is a little bit odd, especially to a site as big as my Anime News Network.
Oh yeah, I mean they're not even the worst. They're like like I said, they have 30 days. They have 30 days, but you have companies that are like up to 90 days and probably even over that as well. So it's like, and at that point when you start going up to like those numbers right there, now we're again into that like, we hope you forget. Please forget.
Yeah, which is a little bit odd.
Please forget.
A little bit odd.
Yeah, no, it is. But I mean, just in general, and this kind of goes to anyone, no matter, even if you do have a safe contract, you should still make sure that you get paid. Still check, because like I said, mistakes happen even still. So always don't think, even if you do have a good contract that says, oh yeah, but I don't have to do stuff like that. Make sure that you actually check. Make sure that the money gets transferred in and you actually do get paid. Because even if I'm not going to say that they're necessarily trying to scam you, but even if they aren't trying to scam you, mistakes happen. And again, that kind of comes into the point that I made earlier, like at the beginning. When something like this happened, which is what I wish Kevin would have done, is go to the company first and ask them. And if you still just get like, yeah, well, we'll work something out, and nothing happens, then you can take it public. But it shouldn't. I feel like, especially with a lot of people now, I feel like there's this incentive that every time something doesn't go the way you want it to, or someone fucks up somewhere, there's an incentive to just immediately take it to the internet, take it to Twitter, take it to Facebook, take it to Instagram, whatever. Take it to Snapchat. And it's like,
yeah, it's kind of become the millennial response, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's like, because believe me, there's a lot of things that can be fixed with just going like, hey, so I see you didn't pay me, and then they go, oh, okay. Because like if he would have gone to them and said, oh, I see, you didn't pay me. What's up with that? They'd probably be like, oh, but we never received your invoice. And you still fucked up system, yes, but that would explain it.
Yeah, I mean,
alrighty.
Just complain at the system. Like, just don't. You have a lot of ways of getting paid. You can go to the, you can go to the justice system. You're gonna get paid, and it's gonna be way way worse to Anime News Network or whatever company you're working with. Because it's going on the news. This company is not paying the person. The person had to go to the justice to ask for payment. This is gonna be way worse for them instead of Twitter.
Alrighty.
Sure.
We've reached the hour mark. I think that that'll segue into just kind of our general kind of go over topic that I've made here based on our 2 anime that we're going over. Yes, 2, I said. 2 short OVAs. We are discussing the animes Riding Bean and Gunsmith Cats today. So to prelude this, basically it's going to be
lewd.
awesome men being awesome and girls with guns. Because the awesome men being awesome was kind of just the simple subgenre point. Yeah, sure. So we'll go with that. Of the 80s. And then also synonymous with the 80s was the start of the girls with guns kind of subgenre as well. And that kind of leads into what anime is doing today with just simply badass women characters. Or at least trying to.
Yeah.
Because we've already covered at least one girls with guns anime, and that was Bubblegum Crisis.
Ugh.
You say ugh.
It was a good one.
I do say
it was a good one. I
Thank you,
liked
Hickey.
it. Yeah, I liked
Thank you,
it.
Hickey.
No, you're both wrong.
It was goofy and serious. It was an interesting ride.
So, my friends, my drunk friends,
Wait, whoa, hold on, I'm not drunk.
what are some awesome men being awesome? Come on.
I just want to say a sober up, okay? I'm not drunk anymore, but I feel very sleepy because it is one of the effects of drinking. Still, awesome men being awesome. Basically, the guy don't do anything important or just do one thing, and he always takes the credit or looks very cool doing that.
I mean, yeah. Awesome men being awesome. Ken
And
from
there's
Fist of the
usually
North
some-
Star.
Say that one
That
more
guy-
time, Tori.
Ken from Fist of the North Star.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is awesome man being awesome. I mean, literally. For the longest part, that was it fucking, him just going into fucking using his Fist of the North Star and then just, always ending it with when he gets threatened and it's like, I will kill you. It's like, omae wa mo shinderu. It's like, nah, can't face him. Not even a little bit. Not even at all. Even when he gets hurt. Even when he literally gets an arrow in his chest or gets stabbed or whatever, he's just standing there looking at you like, nah.
Yeah, kind of just his eyeballs look down. He's like, "Oh, I got an arrow in my body." He'll either just leave it there or just crack it and keep the arrow inside.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. I got a guy.
Yeah.
I got a guy we can bring up. Cobra from Space Cobra.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that guy's got the goofy thing going for him as well, though. He's like the awesome man being awesome, but to goofy levels.
He's got to have the women on his arm too,
Yeah.
Cigar in his mouth. Hickey, have you seen Space Cobra?
No, but I think is it in the podcast list to watch? I think it is.
I mean, it just might have to be at some point.
Yeah,
It should be.
I don't think there's any escape of that. So yeah.
Okay, I got another. This is going real old school. Captain Harlock.
Captain Harlock.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, would you say he's kind of the original awesome man being awesome?
I don't know.
He's got his he's a rebel in space. All against the man. He's got his alien. He's got his hot alien in his room at all times, playing a harp with a glass of wine in his hand, always looking serious.
I would give the title to Captain Okita from Yamato, because I mean he's just too damn awesome. He's fucking dying and goes on his space travel, possibly dealing with death and stuff. Yeah, he was just too damn awesome. He's the beginning.
Well, he's a good example. Yeah, he's a good example of an awesome man being awesome, more in the way of he's so serious and mature about everything that the viewer just goes, "Oh my god, I want to be that guy right there."
Oh my god.
Not the dying part, but the other parts.
I'm so blanking. What is that? What is the name of that thing? Oh, the fucking manga that inspired Fist of the North Star.
Hokuto no Ken?
Blue Sky?
No, the thing. No, there was a
JoJo's?
JoJo's is inspired by Fist of the North Star. There was this very early Shonen Jump manga that was about really, really buff guys beating the shit out of everything. Which is, not very good, but it is cited as the inspiration for Fist of the North Star. But I don't remember what it's called. God.
As you remember, there's Rei from Darker Than Black second season. After the first season, he become a drunk, and he doesn't do shit in the second season. He just go out, he just appear once every episode and beat someone up. Usually the kid, which is the main character, he just slaps her from time to time. Yeah.
Well, this awesome man being awesome seems to be synonymous with kind of the show's pace and feel to it, with that character kind of driving that pace and feel. So the character, going back to Ken from Fist of the North Star, he's just like this buff dude filled with manly man testosterone that brings out the testosterone, and the viewer just going, "Oh yeah, definitely just punch that guy in the... Oh, his head exploded. Ah ha ha ha."
And cum came everywhere.
And you realize how big a man's tongue is after half his head gets chopped off.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that it can't be too goofy where it starts to get bad. Do you guys have any examples of that? Because I got one that comes to mind immediately.
Goku the Midnight Eye.
Oh, yeah.
That's where even a character art, a design, kind of the overall plot of the show kind of ruins such a testosterone level character. That's for sure. Good. That's a great example, Hickey.
Thank you.
That is just fantastic. What came to my mind was the sequel to Fist of the North Star, which is Fist of the Blue Sky in Kenshiro, where the show in general tries to be serious, but it's way too goofy and over the top in elements, and it kind of ruins what could be just a cast of badass characters.
I mean, I don't really have an example of this, but I've obviously watched a bit of Fist of the North Star, but I feel like that kind of had the opposite problem, because Fist of the North Star at first isn't that serious. It's serious, but it's not like it knows that it's a silly concept. It knows that it's it realizes that it's a silly concept. It's about a guy who has one move that beats everyone, and he beats them bad. But that's kind of the drive of Fist of the North Star. But I feel like Fist of the North Star, as it progressed, came into this problem where they wanted to kind of lose that humor, dry humor as it may be, but the more silly aspects of it, and kind of wanted to be very serious about it. It decided it wanted to be a very serious story, and in turn, it becomes this weird mash of like very overly dramatic, overly serious guys doing weird stuff, like punching 50,000 times in a second. It's like, it's kind of hard to take that seriously. Like, I don't know. It's hard.
Of course you can take it seriously, Tori. Have you never seen a martial arts movie?
Not very
One dude beats up 100 guys in a dojo. No problem. They all have swords and guns, while he only has his fist.
I haven't actually seen that many of those, no.
What?
It's not...
What did you do as a child?
I watched Pokemon.
Well, I mean, I did too, but... You're telling me you didn't watch, like, Steven Seagal and
nope.
No?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Yeah!
Yeah, Hickey! Hickey and I are so on the same page today. This is such a great cast.
This is scary, actually. No, I mean, I've said this before, but like when I was a kid, I didn't much care for media at all. I didn't watch TV. I didn't watch movies. None of that, ever.
Well, I mean, I watched it.
Okay, how about this? Have you guys ever seen Kung Pao Enter the Fist?
Nope.
Yeah.
The goofy martial arts parody.
Yeah. I know. I remember this. I remember this movie.
That kind of goes with the opposite of that serious martial arts movie or even an anime, and goes the other way. So I feel that's what something like Fist of the Blue Sky was trying to do, was kind of being a parody on itself. I mentioned that because I'm watching it now to get ready for the spring one, but now with such disappointment in what that turned out to be, no way I'm going to watch the spring season Fist of the Blue Sky. Because that's just, it's an awesome man trying to be awesome in an environment where it doesn't work. Much like Midnight Eye Goku.
It was fun though.
That is too awesome though.
See, it can be fun, but it could be better. I feel like easily.
No, never.
Easily, Tori. Come on.
Never.
You got to be like Hickey today and just get on my page, get on my level.
I don't wanna.
Read the same book I'm reading. Come on.
I don't know what book you're reading. I don't like the book you're reading.
So you guys got some more examples? What about some shonen characters?
Guts.
Do you feel that they're ever awesome?
You got Guts.
Guts?
Guts.
Oh my god, Guts from Berserk?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
The thing though, Guts is more than just badass for the sake of being badass. Like, I get what you're saying, but it's like...
Yeah, he's badass because he needs to survive. I get you, but...
Yeah. He was made badass. Like, Ken, that guy was fucking... Yeah. That guy was born with a 12-pack.
Yeah. He was forced to be badass. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was like, fuck it.
I get
Ken
you.
Ken, he wasn't born. He made his way out. But I mean, like
let's think about a guy being badass for the sake of being badass, in the same vein of the ones of riding beans and Gunsmith Cat. I thought of Go-Go 13, but the guy is badass.
Oh.
He's badass.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way.
I mean,
like the things he pulls out, it is just impressive. So like he's not like the detective on Gunsmith Cats, where the guy comes, out of nowhere, he shoots someone, and it's like, "Did you miss me, baby?" That kind of thing. That kind of bad. Yeah. That kind of badass.
Isn't that so 80s though?
Yeah. That kind of badass.
It's almost like badass, like awesome men being awesome was a product of the 80s.
And how even if you have this kind of segues into the next little discussion here, of even if you have a badass woman character trying to break the mold of the weak damsel in distress, there seems to always be a man in it's just the time, a man in tow to just go, as Hickey said, "Did you miss me, baby?"
And he always get the
You
credit.
clearly needed me, the man, in this moment.
He always get the credit on the thing. Like, it is impressive.
Yeah.
You may have stopped the evil villain from taking over the world or assassinating that president, but I saved you in your moment of need.
Yeah.
Now look at my penis. Like, it's always you always kind of get that feeling out of it.
I mean, yeah. I feel like, I mean, to not to get all feminist up in here, but I mean, I feel like that is kind of when I hear people talk about like the male perspective in cinema, it's like while I do think that in a lot of cases that's kind of over-exaggerated, it's an over-exaggerated point, but there are definitely cases where it is to be found, like you said, even in a lot of things where you try to have a badass female character, but that badass female character still for some reason has to be overshown by an even more badass main male character. Or even if it isn't necessarily that badass, he will still ultimately have to be like, oh, she saved the entire world, but like you said, but he saved her.
Right.
That's like that's it, come on, that's not necessary. That's pointless.
It's really unnecessary. I mean, just flip the script for a second, where woman saves the world or whatnot, and at the very end, you know, the evil villain, you know, thinking of like the moment in Die Hard where the
Which
evil Russian or German guy pops up at the end with the gun and friend shoots. Well, what if he was charging at the weak dude that we've been seeing the whole time? So instead of the weak dude firing that last shot and saving the woman, just flip the script and have the woman save him one last time, and she's like, I see you still need me.
Babe.
Yeah.
Don't remember
yeah,
the babe.
she says babe.
The babe is the important part of the thing. It's the thing that makes the guy take the credit.
Yep.
That would be great. You know, if there's an anime that it does it, and I'm just not thinking of it right now, let us know. Let us know. Hit us up on Twitter at BowlingJD. Tori, what's your Twitter?
Good question. What is my Twitter?
Awesome.
Like Tori Prox or something?
Nah, it's Tor.
Tori Love Traps. Yes.
Yep. Tori Love Traps.
Yeah, but like you have it with Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell is a good example. Yes.
Because like you have the blonde dude with the mechanic eyes.
Oh yeah.
And you know he and the Major they kind of switch places from time to time. Sometimes she's in danger.
Bato.
Yeah, Bato. Sometimes he's in danger and she saves him, and sometimes she's in danger and he saves him. And of course, in the Stan Complex series, in the movies, it is more complicated and kind of convoluted, especially the second one.
But Hickey,
in a sense,
we both know what that show's truly missing.
No.
Prison Shell. Wait, what? No one?
No.
Ghost in the Shell is truly missing that moment where it's, did you miss me, babe?
Oh yeah.
No, it didn't.
No, I think there was a moment like that. I think there was a moment like that.
They kind of have sarcastic comments to each other about it.
Yeah.
Like they bust each other's balls because they know it's like, hey, you needed me this one time.
I mean, you have that all the time, and it's kind of the same thing where it's like, you know, Bato kind of just sticks to the Major, where it's like, so why'd you decide to be a female? Because, you know, you don't have to be a female. She could have been a male. Would have been much better for her to be a male, wouldn't it? So obviously Bato's gay. That's
clearly what he was going for. Well, no, Ghost in the Shell kind of hits a different note. I mean, it's not the cheesy 80s thing that Hickey and I were kind of talking about, or what we saw with Midnight Eye Goku.
Because it's not from the 80s.
Well, because it's not from the 80s.
Wait.
It's missing the good parts.
The manga was... What is the manga?
I thought it was early 90s.
Early 90s?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I can look it up. Hold on a second.
Yeah, well, and while you're looking that up, I think that's a good segue into Girls with Guns.
Yeah, the beginning.
You know, so two anime come to mind that really started the Girls with Guns trend, and that was...
Let's stop right here. It is just to remind that it is interesting that in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, we had girls with something. And that people got every single girls with something together and made the cute girls doing cute things. Plus the moe. Because girls with something not necessarily would be that cheesy moe we see, but then they got everything together, put some moe, and became cute girls doing cute things. Nowadays, you don't see people saying girls with something. You hear people saying cute girls doing cute things, or cute girls with tanks. That will be girls and panzers. Cute girls with guns. You have Gunslinger Girls and no pote. You have this. So, but in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, it was girls with something. So that is an interesting evolution we still had. Well, I think it's an evolution. Other people think it is not. It is a recess.
It's a de-evolution.
Yeah, it's
a change.
It's devolved.
It's a change, that's for sure.
It
And
mutated.
just to kind of, before we go into this topic even further, the Ghost in the Shell manga came out in 1989, so it was just at the end of this.
I knew it was 80s. Awesome.
Well, that doesn't matter. It basically came out when everything was changing.
I don't care. I don't care.
So, the two anime that come to mind, as we don't talk about manga, or we tried and it didn't work out so well.
Hey, you told me to look it up.
Well, no, it was good. Thank you, Tori. I appreciate your contribution to the cast.
Sure.
Was Bubblegum Crisis and Dirty Pair.
Bubblegum Crisis. Ugh.
What about Dirty Pair? Do you go, ugh?
No, Dirty Pair is actually good.
All right, well, Dirty Pair is actually good then. Fine. So, those two anime had prominent male characters as the cast, or a female character. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. What a bad misspoken.
So, JD is gay. Moving on.
Prominent female characters in the cast. With something, as Hickey said, in this case, guns, or some type of explosive device. And we saw an evolution of when an anime would have a female cast of kind, magical girls aside, would have guns with them. And that in itself, having a woman kind of be in a situation to be able to protect herself, just that item would immediately kind of give them the persona of they're badass. And then they would have to prove how they would use it. So every anime would seem to have an opening episode of them kind of, or an opening scene of them showing off how badass they are with said item. Dispute so far?
Okay, moving on.
No. Okay. So moving on to a couple other examples. To me, I love Black Lagoon. That's a much later one, but that's kind of an it's almost like the peak of a girls with guns anime, or girls with items, because you have girls with swords, girls with big guns, small gun, what have you. To me, that was the peak.
And it's chainsaw.
Girls with chainsaw. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
God fucking
Women assassins. It was almost like a conglomeration of everything we saw in the 80s and 90s up until that point. So, are there any other anime that you'd like to talk about with girls with guns, or just mention?
I mean, Gunslinger Girl.
You do have, Gunslinger Girl's one. I recently watched a Girls with Guns show called Noir, but Noir is it's not even terrible. It's the hardest a show has ever fived. One thing, or one show as well is the other Black Lagoon. To put it this way, it's not as good, but the Jormungand.
Jormungand,
Well,
yes.
Well, not strictly Girls with Guns. It does have Girls with Guns. Very badass girls with guns.
Very better.
Very buff girl with gun.
Very better girls with six packs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
guns.
There's a Brazilian guy singing in the first season, episode 12, minute 12. Yeah, I remember that.
Of course you know that. Of course you know the exact.
It was very impactful. It was very impactful. If you watch it, if you watch Yomugan, you know what happens on the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it was very impactful. I thought YouTube was open because a Portuguese guy started just saying, I was like, God fucking damn it, YouTube just opened out of nowhere and it's shitting my anime. I was like, no way, this is the actual anime. What the fuck? I had the same reaction with Wolf's Rain. Anyway, yeah, Yomugan was a good one. You had a shitload of awesome badass women with guns.
Has anyone seen Mezzo Forte?
The porn?
Excuse me?
Well, I wasn't gonna mention that.
What? No. What is this, Jay? Tell me, what is this thing? I've never heard of this before. What?
Well, it's more or less a hentai with girls with guns.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh God! What about Gall Force? That goes along the lines of in that time frame of Bubblegum Crisis and Dirty Pair.
Never heard of.
No, it's pretty famous along those lines. It wasn't as popular, at least if memory serves, but it did have continuity of a lot of these female characters in the show having guns and just kicking ass. And of course, it was just a short OVA series. But that was the other thing. You never really got a prominent series out of these shows until, I want to say, something like Gunslinger Girl.
Well, I mean, that's, again, just a kind of a product of the time. The 80s was... the 80s was OVA heavy. It was all about the OVAs, and mostly because finding funding for full-length TV series, wasn't that easy. You basically needed stuff like Galaxy Express 39, which got more than...
Excuse me.
Which got more than, just your standard 13 or 26 episode series. They got 113.
No, I understand that. However, we did see series pop up of awesome dudes being awesome, such as City Hunter.
Yeah,
that comes to mind.
Again,
but we never got a true full-length dedicated show. I want to say Dirty Pair was the closest thing we got, and that was, it may sound weird now, but that was only about 26 episodes. And then a sequel OVA did come that kind of changed it. It wasn't until the 2000s where women in this subgenre got their own show.
Yeah, but then like when you start talking about the 2000s, it is changing. The industry is changing, and the moe is taking a lot of place in modern anime. So like I don't know if it's right to say kind of compare the times, because moe is such a big player in the field that I don't know. I just don't feel it just don't feel right, to say,
well, I mean, it is...
they became the protagonist. They became in the front. Technically, that's not right. Technically, what is in the front is the cutest of them. So like it is not the woman in the sense of grows with something. It is already the cute girls doing cute things. Not necessarily in the 80s and 90s you had a cute girl doing something. But like when we start going to the 2000s and especially 2005 towards the present, it is more the cutest. It's more cute. It's not about the girl. It's more about the cute. Then the awesome guy being awesome start to become kind of a bishonen character as well. Like you have that. So it doesn't ring the bell. You can still compare. Of course, they're comparable. But it is just don't sound quite right in my head.
Well, no, I get what you're saying, Hickey. what I was kind of more or less going for was to see the evolution in how characters progressed and and did change. Because there's always a start, and then there's always a peak, and then you fall off the cliff. Where do you think, like, what was there a specific character? Was there a specific show that kind of started this more empowered women in anime as the forefront protagonist? Because I would argue that would be Ghost in the Shell.
That is definitely a big player.
Yeah, it is.
That is for sure.
We have Utena as well.
Utena as well. Utena has had a major... Utena is majorly popular. I know you don't like it, but you cannot deny that Utena had a lot to do with just, empowering women and just kind of coming to terms and accepting your own identity, right? Both as a woman and, well, even as a lesbian.
Sure.
Even if you don't like it, and I know you don't like it.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
Well, you hesitated.
Well, I'm just kind of trying to remember what I watched of the show.
Okay, what you watched.
Yeah, I mean, Utena was there. That she was definitely a game-changing character for the industry. I don't deny that. I just deny that the show was good.
We can have this discussion once I finally watch that show. Mm-hmm. And we can have this discussion.
You people who are listening to this, just wait for the Utena cast. It is coming.
Oh
one
my God.
day.
That'll get that'll get as much hate as the Sailor Moon one.
No, it will get you as much hate.
Yeah.
Well, alright, me in particular, fine. Hit me up on Twitter at BowlingJD. You can also type in Red Leaf Retrocast. Find me on Instagram at BowlingJD, Red Leaf Retrocast.
Hate me, but please give me the like as well.
Hate me, hit that subscribe button on Podbean or iTunes.
So you can listen to every single cast.
I am not above
and hate
shameless
on
plugs
JD.
for our own cast.
Also, all you Spanish people, take notice. Hickey is talking a lot more now.
Hey, I'm also.
Yes.
I'll have to drink every single Sunday we do a podcast. Apparently,
the people I've spoken, Hickey, are Spanish listeners from Mexico, Spain, and Honduras, I guess.
Honduras? Really?
Want more of you? Yeah.
Thank you all.
And the German listeners want more of me on Twitter, apparently.
I'll try my best. Ganbarimasu. Ganbarimasu.
I have heard the words you have spoken to me, Spanish listeners, as I speak Japanese.
I mean, this is an anime cast.
Yeah, you said they want me to say weeb stuff, so I'm going to speak Japanese. I'm going full Shimamura. Just ganbarimasu.
I did have one person from Mexico direct message me on Twitter, all in Spanish, going, "How come we don't speak Spanish more often on the cast?" And I had to respond in English. Just, I don't speak Spanish.
Sí.
We have one member who does, kind of.
But
it's not me.
Isto es un podcast en inglés. So I'm not speaking Spanish.
There you go.
That's your Spanish. What you think?
No hablo inglesa on the podcast.
No, you
don't speak English on this cast?
See Spanish.
I mean, you
Spanish
your point,
speakers.
so fine.
Yeah, you proved your point. You don't know how to speak Spanish. But hey, if you guys want to message us in Spanish or ask stuff, I can translate. Okay, I also know French and a little bit of Japanese.
And I know a bit of French as well.
So, if you're listening to us and want you to ask on those languages, if you're not confident on your English, feel free. We understand you. And even if we don't understand, we'll try our best to find someone who understands and translate to us. Because we care about you.
We are the worldwide weebs. We have a wide audience that speaks a plethora of languages.
Yep. You can even ask questions in Norwegian, Swedish, Danish. I might know a little bit about some of those languages.
It's the same thing.
German, Dutch, English.
Don't ask us questions in English. None of us speak it.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
JD made it very
we've
clear
totally
we
derailed.
don't speak English in this cast.
We've totally derailed. So
I know Latin as well.
I think that's a perfect time.
So if you want to ask in Latin, you can ask it.
I think it's the perfect time to jump into our first OVA. What do you say, guys?
Nah.
Sounds fine.
No. Let's talk about video games. Screw anime.
Let's talk about Soul Worker. Come on, Hickey.
Yeah, finally.
All right, okay, fine. I gotta ask. You two have been playing this game Soul Worker, and it looks anime as fuck. What the hell is it? Because you guys have also been looking for players to play with you guys.
Well, it is
So
just a
plug,
it is a
plug,
hack and
plug
slash.
your game.
Yeah, it is just a hack and slash MMORPG. The game itself, it's not that complicated. You get the equipment, you equip your equipment, go into a map, hack and slash the shit out of enemies, get the boss, fight the boss, finish the quest, the same thing. There's a bunch of complicated mechanics on the game. The crafting is quite complicated. You have special currency that you cannot buy with money. You also have the money. Like you spend money in the game, those kind of things. You have a akasha, which is kind of a passive skill you can acquire. It's not the passive skill of the character you chosen. There's a lot of complicated mechanics. But playing it by itself, it's not that funny. But playing with friends, we realized it is very, very funny to play. So we decided to keep playing as casuals, like nothing major. We're gonna make a guild, and we're trying to see people to play with us. So we can go on parties and, just play. Because we always have this idea, every single month, I think. Usually Joe has this idea of, we need a game to play with everyone in our Discord. Which you can totally join. You just need to go to our My Enemy List page, or go to like message Tori or JD on Twitter, and they will share you the link with you. We always want this game so everyone can play together. Usually Joe Senpai, he comes up with this idea, but usually it is a fighting game. But the problem with the fighting game is that no one plays it. The only people who play the fighting game is Joe, Skeef, which is one of our dear friends on the Discord, and me. So like,
Hickey.
Yeah, and me.
And Sammy.
And Sammy, but Sammy is the press light punch and win kind of guy. I like him.
Sammy. Hey, Sammy's that weird guy. He keeps saying he wants to play. He wants to play with the people, but at the same time, it's like, even when he plays fighting games, it's like everyone's playing Skullgirls or something, and then he's like over there playing Dragon Ball FighterZ. It's like, didn't you want to play with people?
Yeah, but like, so what happens is we train every single day. So usually what happens is everyone who plays against us gets cheated on, and we have a few good matches between us. So that it is not funny. But a MMORPG where you can go very casual, I think it was, and it is fun to play with friends, as we discovered yesterday. We had a lot of fun playing that game. I think it was a good game to play with our friends in the community. So we are looking for friends to make to make our guild, which the name is Flying Potatoes.
I like it.
Yeah, it is an awesome game. It is an awesome name for a guild. And we're gonna do it and play with friends. It is just to play. It is have a great time playing the game, which is not complicated. But if the complicated parts, you have a help menu that actually helps. And you can play the game. You can come play with us. Be part of the guild. Be part of the Discord, and talk to a bunch of awesome people as we play together. A free-to-play game.
Listen to me yell at Hickey for dying all the time on the boss.
I don't have an excuse of dying on the boss, okay? Fine.
Remember, Hickey, did you just miss?
It is hard to aim that kind of ability. I have a stand. My character has a fucking stand, okay? And it is difficult to aim that thing. It is not my fault. It is the game's fault. I'm just like every single person who plays RPGs or any kind of game. It is the game fault.
Anyways,
first OVA.
Let's go into the OVAs.
Alrighty, so this was okay. So first up is Writing Bean, and for those that don't know, I'll just go over the basics here right quick. It's a 1-episode OVA that's about just over 45 minutes long, so an easy watch. It's by Studio AIC and Artmic, so it was a combined studio effort. And AIC is probably most known for such shows as like Amagami SS.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's kind the Yamato 2199 remake.
Ryoko for life.
And Now and Then Here and There.
They didn't do the Yamato remake by themselves.
Not by themselves, but they were involved. So
they were involved, yeah.
It's by director Yasuo Hasegawa, who's done a lot of El Hazard. He was an animation director on Megazone 2-3. Did some Tenchi Muyo stuff. So, producer of Blue Gender, which was a very popular show, if memory serves. If memory serves. So, the studio was pretty solid. The director is okay, for the most part. And this is, again, going back to what we just discussed, was an awesome dude being awesome.
With an awesome car.
So, Writing Bean's about, oh god, yeah. And he has an awesome fucking car. All souped up to his personal needs.
Of course. You always need your awesome car back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh.
You weren't a man if you didn't have a sports car.
With the...
Sports car with a gun inside.
Yeah. And missiles.
At least one.
So, the synopsis is, Bean Bandit, our main character, and his partly Rally Vincent are couriers for hire. By the way, I loved all the names of in the show.
Of course you did.
Even his car, called the Roadbuster. So his job was to transport clients and or goods in his custom car called the Roadbuster for a price that he would name, which was a minimum of 50,000, if memory serves.
I think it was 40,000.
Was it 40?
Yeah.
Something around those lines. We'll go with 40. Things go awry when they are hired to escort a kidnapped girl named Chelsea to her home. And they don't realize they're being set up and framed by the clients that they were hired to protect. And of course, there's this Lupin type detective character that's always after the Bean Bandit. And it's just right. It's totally not Zenigata, but it kind of is.
But he's nowhere near as cool.
The OVA takes place in Chicago.
Yes, it does.
So it takes place outside Japan. Hey, how about that?
I mean, you couldn't really have this type of story in Japan now, could you?
Yeah, with all the guns and badass sports cars. Nah, yeah. It'd kind of be hard to pull off.
There'd be a whole lot more stopping at red lights and whatnot.
We're escaping the police. Stop at a red light. Pull over. No, we can't. There's no intersection to pull off of. Is that a gun? Is that a gun? No, it's a stick.
I might be doing illegal stuff, but I'm not going to go in for no fucking traffic violations.
Well, if this did take place in Japan, it would be in like the faraway future to justify weapons and cars and whatnot going this fast.
Going this fast.
But it takes place in Chicago, and from the get-go, it's quite fun. It starts off with him, Bean Bandit.
Okay, no. It starts off as the Transporter.
Right.
That movie with Jason Statham. It is the same beginning. Bank robbery, the guy's waiting outside, guys come in, and he flees from the police, goes to some place, get the money, says, I'm not getting hired by you again because you're a bunch of amateurs. That is the beginning of the Transporter. And then he's hired again to transport a kidnapped girl, which is also the transporter. Like, I was watching the show. I was like, huh, I watched this. I watched a better version of this. It had Jason Statham in it, which is, by the way, an awesome guy in Awesome as well.
Yeah, pulling off awesome stunts. I really liked how this actually was set up. He's transporting a couple characters who pull off a heist, and police are after him, and this is where you basically get to know how badass of a driver he is and how souped up his car is. Because there's one moment where an 18-wheeler kind of blocks off a roadway, and he's staring at it. The police are high and tail from behind, and the wheels of his car go full sideways, and he goes down an alley. And then he moves into a warehouse, and this is where the show kind of gets you to know how devious the quote unquote villains are. In I believe they're called she's called Stemmerling, where they have various disguises, and they set up one of the disguises to look like what we come to find out to be this company president's daughter, and the cameras get him, and that's where the police go, hey, this Zenigata character's, hey, I can go after my guy. All right, he's involved in this kidnapping case. Fantastic. Good stuff?
Good stuff. Again, I like the transporter, and I like Jason Statham, so I was having fun.
What did you think of the start, Tori?
I mean, I think it's exactly what it is. It's an awesome guy being awesome, really. I don't think there's that much to it.
I mean, there isn't much to it, but it gets the point across pretty quickly.
Yeah,
definitely.
It is what it's trying to be.
I mean,
no doubt. So,
one thing.
Hickey, go on.
Like,
you want to
it
say
is
something?
interesting when we're going to talk about Gunsmith Cats after that, but it is interesting that in the synopsis we have the guy like Bandit, Bing, and Raleigh.
Yeah, Bean Bandit.
Being Bandit, and Raleigh being like basically in a equal. Like they are equal in the synopsis, but when you start watching the show, you see that she's a support character. She doesn't fire a gun until like the end, I think. She doesn't do anything until the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so for those that have seen City Hunter or know something about it, the main character also has a support character, and that's what this heavily reminded me of, was kind of that relationship, where you have this badass for-hire male character with, to me, it looked like Raleigh kind of was backup, or would help set the jobs up in the first place. The difference being that Bean Bandit isn't a womanizing comedy character. He's just an awesome dude doing his fucking job.
He loves his car more than women.
Yeah. You might be able to argue that one easily. So, a fake representative of, or a fake bodyguard over the company's daughter comes into Bean Bandit and asks him to transport the girl safely to the president's mansion. Not knowing that this is all a setup for the real plot of them getting away with what they stole from the heist earlier. So, Bean Bandit with Raleigh in tow go to the head to the mansion, not knowing the cops are already in full force there. The other part to mention is there's a whole scene of them arranging this meeting and how he's going to get paid. Someone shoots up the office heavily, and I really liked the simple gun scene of seeing Bean Bandit just kick over the chair that the girl's sleeping in to protect her, and he immediately flips the table and the couch over to protect himself. And what does he have? a bulletproof leather jacket.
Uh,
Do you not want that jacket, Tori?
I mean,
how would the headband? The headband was cool.
Yes, I want it, but I don't need it.
I need it.
Well, I live in America,
Yeah.
and I might need that.
I definitely need something like that.
Even if I pass by a school these days, I feel like I need my bulletproof Bean Bandit leather jacket.
Speaking of which, that thing also would make its return later.
So he gets to the Bean Bandit gets to the mansion, and what's got to be my favorite scene in the entire short OVA is he's more or less planned for kind of a backfire to just dropping her off. He's not a naive character. He's a professional. Where yeah, so he gets to the gate. Cops noticed he has the girl inside. They kind of let him in, and then they're not gonna really let him just let the girl out. They want to arrest him. They got a full armada there of the police force, of the Chicago Police Department, CPD. And two things happen. First, they shoot up his car. So he's got bulletproof windows going on, bulletproof doors, the whole shebang. And he's got an intercom, and he's just like, "Hey, I didn't kidnap her. I'm here to just drop her off." They don't believe him. And then this leads to one of the cops going, "Get your shitty car out of here. It's a piece of shit." And doesn't he spit on it or spit on him?
They weren't cops. I think they were like Yakuza like people. Of course they weren't the Yakuza because it's Chicago, but they are mafia. They were mafia guys. The police arrives.
Truly mafia? I think they were.
The police arrives.
Or were they hired guns?
The police arrives later on the scene.
The police they arrive at him at the gate. That's when the police get him.
Well, that's when Zenigata dude shows up for sure.
Yeah, and the other police, those guys in there, they're not police. They're hired. They're killers for hire. Essentially, they were hired guns.
Or were they the bodyguards of the mansion of the company president?
Well, yeah, but they're very clearly guns for hire.
Well, I guess only mafia
they seem like
characters
they
would
have
accept them
absolutely
jobs,
no problem killing somebody who goes in there.
So, Bean Bandit gets spit on. He says shitty things about his car, disrespects it. This sets Bean Bandit off. He puts a bunch of 5 or 6 walnuts in his mouth. And that was the last straw. He full on bites down on all the walnuts, cracking them. And in that moment also cracks the sunglasses he's wearing right off his face. Window rolls up, tires go sideways, and just rams the dude into a tree. And he proceeds to turn around and busts through the gate and runs basically almost right into his Zenigata friend. He's like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" I love that scene. What did you guys think?
It was pretty cool. Like how the car's tires, they turn completely to one side. And so he uses the car to stop the cop to pull out a shotgun and start asking him stuff, and the police guy just handles him the investigation.
Tori, how about yourself?
Well, like I said, it's a cool scene, but again, it's fine.
I'm getting the feeling you wanted more substance out of this, more than just this testosterone car chase.
Well, no. The thing is, I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew I wasn't going to get any substance or anything really, which I'm fine with. But I mean, I've said this before. I used to be somebody who really liked action. This was my sort of thing. Just mindless, awesome guys being awesome, mindless fun. I'm in this period right now where it's I don't really care that much for this type of storytelling. Yeah, it's cool, but let's say if you were to just strip down, okay, it's cool, but what else is it? Well, nothing.
Well, it's definitely a show that knows what it is. You can't deny that.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad show either. I actually like the show. It's just not my kind of show.
Okay. I mean, besides, like, this opening moment, I do want to mention how I did like the Zenigata character, because he's just after Bean Bandit, because I guess he has such a heavy grudge with him, because he got his, like, I think they go into details of what kind of car he has, because he's like, I just picked up my Shelby GT 2500 with the engine this, and it's very important stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. So he shows up with the car, and he's like, I'm ready to go.
Hey, man, this is the same thing that I got from the mecha shows, where it's just like, whenever there's a new mecha up, it's like, fucking gotta run down all those specs, dude.
He's like, I can finally catch Bean Bandit in this. So, Bean Bandit and Rally with Girl in the backseat, and she's kind of chilling back there most of the time. It's pretty funny. She yells every now and again, but they're nice to her. They do say, like, we're not totally the good guys here, but we're not the bad guys.
I mean, yeah.
Some
men aren't the good guys. They never are.
So then, Bean Bandit and the cops just go on this epic car chase, and it cuts to the Stemmerling with her little manipulated girl partner, and they have the company president kind of tied up in this hotel room, and kind of a weird scene where the little girl is about to, like, service the dude, and not just serve him food, if you get my drift. Kind of goes from 0 to 100 on what she's in, because she does this and that, and then she's like, well, if you struggle, I'm gonna cut it off. Get my drift, guys? Am I beating around the bush just right?
Yeah.
Or am I beating in the bush at this point?
You're beating in the bush at this point. Hard.
So this is where we find out that Stemmerling is this very manipulative woman. She doesn't really care much about anyone other than herself. It shows her basically just bitch slapping her let's call her servant girl, because that's what she is. And we find out more of the plot, and they're basically using Bean Bandit to get out of town. Big distraction. So the car chase ensues, and there's a scene at a gas station where Bean Bandit is kind of discussing, and they see the trailer from the very start. And that's when the epic chase just continues. So it's about 20 full-on minutes of epic car chase, all leading up to a moment in a parking garage where great finish. So, Tori or Hickey, you guys, how about I lead this off to you guys of this parking garage moment, because that finishes up Riding Bean right there.
It is kind of a weak point of the thing, because Bean looks like a Terminator in the scene. So
Yeah,
it
Terminator, yeah.
so it kind of leads to, I don't know, I thought it was bad, because seriously, he doesn't look human. He rips apart a car door with his bare hands. You know,
he gets shot in the goddamn face, and he's just I'm angry now.
He has a bulletproof bandana on, man.
It wasn't bulletproof.
Or headband.
It
wasn't bulletproof at all. That bullet lodged in his goddamn head.
It was bulletproof.
And he's just like, no,
actually,
fuck you.
Like, you can see, like, there was a metal piece inside of the bandana. But that is bad. Like, it is the same thing. What if she shoot you in the face? It's like, oh shit, yeah. But, like, you know, it is a bad thing. I thought it was a bad thing. Like, he rips apart a fucking car door with his bare hands. I think he at some point he grabs a car and just kind of, you know, he stops the car with his bare hands as well.
Yeah, it was like a little bug car, and he just stops it in full motion, and then just throws it to the side.
Yeah, so like, I think
This
that
is
was kind of
this
bad.
is his badass level, man. No, man, this is his badass level. His badass level is reaching max.
No, I think
He's
badass.
being Bandit, man. He powered up.
At that time, I think Raleigh was way more badass because the guy was like, "Yeah, you better throw this gun. I'm gonna blow this kid's brains on the wall." So like, she makes the throwing and motion, but she actually throws the what is the name in English? The magazine.
The clip?
Yeah, the clip. She throws the clip.
Oh, magazine?
Yeah, the magazine. She throws the magazine, and the guy thinks it's the gun. He grabs the magazine, and he's like, "Wait, this is not the..." And she shoots him in the forehead with the only bullet she had inside of the chamber of the gun. That is badass.
Dude, that was awesome.
That was badass. What Bane made, it was just weird and overpowered.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I enjoyed it, I did not enjoy the element of how invincible he was, or turned out to be. Because beforehand, he was just a badass dude driving a car. Now he's, as you said, Hickey, now he's Terminator. You can't fucking stop him. It became comical instead of just badass.
I feel like it was comical from the fucking get-go, but okay.
Well,
I don't think I mean,
kind of know where I'm going with that, though.
Here's my thing, right? With a badass main characters, and just I'm so badass. I'm the most badass there. Is ultimately they all kind of fall back down to this, like, I am invincible. Like, my badassness can defeat anything. Fucking, I don't care if you throw the sun at me. I'll destroy that thing with my fist because I'm so fucking badass.
Yeah.
It's like,
well,
it's basically what happened there was basically exactly what I expected to happen.
I wasn't expecting getting shot in the head part. He just kind of growls at her. But what inevitably happens is the woman wants to shoot him despite the car leaking. Car explodes. She dies. Raleigh kills the dude, as Hickey said. That only leaves the little servant girl left, and they kind of look at her and just go, well, I mean, she had it coming, didn't she? And then they more or less drive off, continuing the car chase, and the show ends.
Yeah, because the police is outside.
Yeah, the police were waiting. But the little girl and the company dude, totally safe. They do take all the money that was stolen and extorted out of the company, man. So that was good. They got paid at the end of the day.
Yeah, as they should.
Yeah. So that was Riding Bean. I thought it was really fun.
It was fun.
Plain and simple.
Aside from the ending,
I liked it a hell of a lot more than Midnight Eye Goku.
Oh, I think I like Midnight Eye Goku more.
I definitely like this more than Midnight Eye Goku.
Oh,
Midnight
so I'm
Oh my
alone.
God, Tori and I are on the same page
I'm
now.
alone in this one. Fine. I mean, aside from the ending, yeah, it's not the end is bad. It's just weird.
I think if the show was extended to beyond this just, let's call it 2 episodes, or 1 episode OVA, if it continued that, it would have been, 9, 10 out of 10 level. If it didn't, make Bean just this Terminator type character, 9 out of 10 level to me.
No, maybe
maybe
if 7.
If this would have kept going, I would have dropped it.
I would give it.
If it would have if it would have had more OVA episodes like this, you would have just said screw it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fucking sit there watching the same thing over and over again. I already know he's a badass. They've already proven that. I don't need more episodes to see he is a badass. Like, yeah, I'm aware.
I don't know. I feel like this could have been in the same realm of what happened with City Hunter.
I haven't seen City Hunter.
Well, all right. Well, fine. I would like to see, more. This to me screams nice, fun 80s episodic nonsense. And it knows what it wants to be.
It is definitely nonsense.
It knows what it wants to be. If it was more, it would have gotten a higher score with me. That's what I'm saying. And less invincible character.
Oh, but you would have invincible character. It always happens. They're all invincible.
Well, awesome dude's got to be awesome.
Tell me Ken isn't invincible.
I mean, there could have been dedicated episodes to Rally, which I would have loved to see more of.
I wouldn't.
Well, she didn't do anything, so yeah, I would love to see more of her. Definitely.
Yeah. So.
But that would take away time from the badass man. We can't do that.
All right, so let's move on to Gunsmith Cats. What do you say?
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
So, all right. So Gunsmith Cats was a 3-episode OVA, about 25 minutes an episode, so it ran just a little longer than Riding Bean in total time. This had all 3 episodes revolves around a single story narrative, but kind of also has a beginning, middle, and end to each episode, but they do roll together into a finale. That kind of goes to what we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast. So, this is Rally Vincent. Sound familiar?
No.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard it before, like 2 minutes ago.
It's the same female name, but it doesn't feel like the same character. They are both these OVAs take place in the same universe. They both take place in Chicago. Why I don't know if this was supposed to be the same character, but I did read that the two guys involved with the manga had kind of a falling out. So maybe this was supposed to be Rally getting away from the Bean Bandit, or maybe after that episode, or probably, I don't know. I get the feeling that the little girl, the servant girl, is the girl from Riding Bean that breaks off from the kidnapping case and joins Rally to start this organization.
Can you explain?
Does that make sense?
Can you explain the thing with the authors again? You ran past it so quick that I kind of missed the point.
Okay, well, I briefly read something about a falling out between Kenichi Sonata and Toshiba Emi.
So they were making
there was this whole Riding Bean series that was supposed to be made, and I couldn't find any information on what they had a falling out over. But what ended up happening was Kenichi Sonata went on to create the manga Gunsmith Cats, in which Rally Vincent was the star, but changed the hair and kind of...
Yeah, and she has a Shelby as well, the same as the Zenyatta.
Yeah. It
is the same car.
So maybe if they didn't have that falling out, we would have gotten more Riding Bean, more... It's all speculation what could have happened, obviously. But what ended up happening is we got Gunsmith Cats. Same universe, same character, just with a little itty bitty tweaks. So let's assume that in between, Bean Bandit and Rally Vincent had, or they went their separate ways. So now we're at Gunsmith Cats. Rally Vincent knows her weapons. Her and Minnie May, she loves explosives, so she's the grenade loving chick, and together they run an illegal gun shop in Chicago until one day this arms police guy shows up. His name's Bill Collins, and more or less blackmails the two of them into working for him to get some jobs done that he can't quite do legally through his means. because he works for the police department, or ATT. Well, they don't. They're more or less freelancers. Tori, how about you take it from here?
No, you can keep taking it.
I can keep taking it. You're not interested?
No, I'm sick.
Okay.
Hickey,
how about you take it?
Sure. So like, basically, the guy goes to both of them. Bill goes to the Gunsmith Cats, and say, "Look, I can see you have a bunch of guns." What happens is, first he goes there and asks for help, and they say no. But then some guys try to invade the house and steal some guns. They Raleigh basically shoot the people, and of course the police goes there because there's been a shootout, and so he's like, "Well, I guess now you need to help me with this case." The first one is about, I think it's gun dealing, legal gun dealing, because they are arming some stuff, like, so they go to the port and find the guns, and help the police guy to, well, I mean, technically the police guy helped them to stop the illegal dealing of AK-47s, because of course they are AK-47s. This leads to episode 2. The episode 2 is a effect of episode 1, where they discover there's this organization, and one guy has information of the organization. So they go there, and the guy's like, "They're gonna kill me, so I need to relay this information to someone." And
and for reference, for reference to backtrack, the opening scene of the series shows Raleigh and Minnie May as bounty hunters arresting this dude in an apartment to kind of set up how badass each of them are, what their skills. When they go to the warehouse, the port where all these guns are, they made a deal to get that same dude out and to find all the guns and the shipping deals. Now to episode 2, it's the same guy yet again who has that information. So there is some continuity here.
Yeah.
So continue.
Yeah. So the guy's like, "They're gonna kill me, so I need help. I don't." He saves me. Save me, please. And they're like, "We're not gonna save you. We don't even know if what you're saying is true." So he's like, "Okay, you don't need to save me, but please have the information. Give this watch to my daughter," something like that. And so on. So what happens is they go deliver the watch, and the guy is killed by an assassin, a former Soviet Union assassin.
Yeah, Radnov.
That's just like every single Russian person has this name. So that is basically the continuation of episode 2. Is Minnie May gets kidnapped by the assassin. There is some car chasing, and
that car chase was
so awesome. Good. The car chase was awesome. Some shootouts,
even better than riding beans, I would say.
Yeah. So after the car chase, the assassin there's an awesome scene with Minnie May where she explodes the back of the car and just jumps out. Pretty awesome, pretty cool car chase. Then the assassin is presumably dead because the car explodes and falls into a river. But
because of course it does.
Yeah. You discover that she's not dead. And in the last episode, the organization plus the assassin wants revenge on them. So they decided to set a trap for them. Our good guy Bill gets cheated on and almost die. And then we just have shootouts and bombs everywhere until the end.
Right. So the subplot going along all of this with separating Radnov and Raleigh from their kind of one-on-one situation going there. The subplot is Bill Collins is more or less investigating this evil organization and how they're getting their information out of everything. He sees it as really fishy, and tracks down the location of where Radnoff was staying, because what Radnoff was doing was using ID cards to break in to witness protection areas. So he's like, how did this assassin get all that? Because it was even under his name. So he was more or less taken off the case. But of course, as a police officer does in the 80s, I can't leave this case alone. So him and a lower detective find the apartment, and you inevitably find out that the head of the ATF was the mole. He was the one involved with the mayor in this secret arms dealing operation. The assassin booby trapped the place heavily, kills the ATF head in response to kind of just shutting him up, and kills the young detective. And because of that big explosion, Bill Collins gets fucked up, and so he's like, "Oh, I have to warn Raleigh, because what the mayor's doing at this point is setting up Raleigh and setting up Raleigh and someone else to be assassinated at this kind of thank you for protecting the city ceremony."
Raleigh and Minnie May?
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
What's funny is they put Raleigh in heels, and she's like, she can't walk in them. She does in the stress. So Bill Collins gets there just in time, warns Raleigh, but her heel breaks, so then the bullet misses, and this leads to a cat and mouse chase. So you can continue from here, Hickey.
I mean, that is half of episode 3, like OVA 3. So we have the cat and mouse chase with a lot of booby traps, because now I think it is the highest point of the series, because you have basically 3 professionals going against each other. You have Minnie May, and although she looks very young, she's a specialist in bombs and explosives. You have Raleigh, which is a well-known shooter, and you have Radnoff, which is a fucking Soviet. And if we know about Soviet killing machines, they are good at doing what they were trained to do.
Yeah, so, I really liked how.
Please go on.
Raleigh was. I really liked how Raleigh was injured through getting shot by Radnoff. She was losing a lot of blood. So this was kind of Minnie May's moment to shine and protect her. And holy crap, the level of booby traps was actually at a comical level with tripwires. Like, I don't know where she got all these grenades and smoke grenades and flashbangs.
Yeah, just like, oh, don't worry.
And
I put a few booby traps to slow her down, and they show a corridor. You just see a shitload of lasers pointed out.
Lasers and strings just everywhere.
Yeah. I like the whole though, like with fucking Radnoff. Because obviously she is expecting this, so she's just like fucking smoothly avoiding every single booby trap there is, because you can't catch her. She is too good for this. She is trained. But of course, she is eventually caught by a booby trap, and it's the one she doesn't expect. The one in the fucking door. I love it. It's just like, okay, is there any booby trap? No, there isn't. I could open this door perfectly fine. Let's just let us slowly close behind me. You fucked up.
I like the kind of because they end up on the roof. And there's this like window washing excavator setup going, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's before the booby trap thing. Yes, that's when Radnoff fails to assassinate them on stage, she runs away and they chase her to the rooftop of this
Yeah, they go through like the Capitol building area a bit, and they end up on the roof.
Yeah, the museum. It was a renovating museum, or they were renovating a
or
museum.
renovating a museum. Yeah, that's yeah. You're right, Turi. You're right. Yeah, and so she cuts the string. They have this counterweight set up, and then there's a bunch of grenades in the bucket or flashbangs, and that's where Rally gets the final kind of shot off and finally kills Radnoff.
No.
What
No.
No. That is not. That is when she. That's when she start. That's her cue to getting away. That's when she runs away. When she kills her, that's when she's been exploded in the bathroom after Radnoff's been getting caught by the last booby trap. They're all being helped out. People have come.
No.
Radnoff, but they're taking her to the ambulance. She's being put in the ambulance, or she's about to be arrested, and she just kills everyone in there and jumps out. Because she's not going to go down before she's killed these two.
Yeah, it's kind of reminiscent of that Die Hard moment where the guy busts out and he's going to kill McClane at the end. It was the same thing. That's where I was. It was very reminiscent of Die Hard, where you have this epic roof moment of what you think is the enemy being defeated and killed in this case, just to kind of cut later to have this final epic scene showdown where possibly Rally can't defend herself because she's in a sling because she got shot. Minnie May's, tiny as shit. Shows Rally tripping over the stairs, and Hickey, here's your moment. Why don't you take it? Hickey.
And he didn't take it.
He didn't take it. Did we lose him?
Basically. Yes.
Oh my god, we lost him! No! What a horrible time!
Oh well, doesn't matter. No,
Tori, you take it!
Essentially what happens is, Radnoff, she is in the last effort trying to kill, kill the main character. I forgot her name. Sickness. I blame that. And, she fails to pull out her gun because her arms, she got stabbed. So her arm isn't really working, and it's in a cast, and she can't really pull it up. And she's like, I can't pull by the trigger in time. Only for them to hear a gunshot, and Radnoff falls over dead. And here's Detective Guy on the case, saving the girl at the end, being the real hero of the story.
Yeah, babe.
Will you? What? I can't. I wish I wrote down the line he said at the end of that.
Did you miss me, baby?
It's like, did you miss me, baby? Bear with me. I got this on my computer here. I'm going to get the line right now. I'm getting it.
So
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to a number 1 to 10. Which number is it?
And for this show?
No. It's just as JD looks up the fucking phrase, so you don't have a bunch of blank space on the podcast.
No.
Guess the number.
Oh, that's what he's... Okay, he says, You think I'm useful now, don't you?
Babe.
That's one. Yeah.
I was,
he doesn't say babe.
No.
He should have.
He fucking should have.
Nah,
I was thinking of a 5, by the way.
Oh, he does make a reference after that. Not another Elliot Ness, though. I don't know who Elliot Ness is.
I don't either. That's the second time in that OVA he made it. He made it once earlier as well. I don't get it. I don't know what he's going for, but I'm sure it's awesome.
I'm sure it's something.
Yeah. No, but I mean, honestly, I did not like... Again, and I did not like this final episode.
What? Tori, explain yourself.
I like parts of it, but like we went into before, here we have this issue again, where obviously we again have that ending where it's like, ultimately, no matter how badass the woman, you will eventually have to have the man come and save the day and be the hero we all need, because it's the man. He is the hero. It doesn't matter what they did. He saved her. He saved them. That makes him 10 times better than what they could ever achieve. But you got that. But not only that, we've spent so much time, like having these two girls, making them out to be very badass. But it's like, now we have 2 instances where the girl is not killed by Radinov through sheer luck. The first time on the stage, when she's about to get shot, but she doesn't get hit because her heel breaks and she falls. And another one where she gets saved actually 3 times. Another one where she gets saved by Minnie May, which is fine because, she should probably have some badass time as well. So that I can get behind. And a third time where she gets saved by the police guy. So it's like, we've spent all this time making her out to be some sort of badass, and now you're trying to do everything you can to pull that down. She is still, at the end of the day, just a woman.
Oh,
like,
that was a strong phrase, man.
Do you disagree?
No, I liked it. I liked it.
Do you think?
I actually like it. It is an interesting way of thinking and putting into perspective how she's saved at the end. I was thinking more that she's a badass woman, yes, but she's also a smart person, and has this. Of course, if you want to be badass, you need luck. But she also has the meaning or the ways of getting good and also badass partners. That will be Minnie May and the police guy. But also think that at the end she's just another woman is also very interesting because of the time period we're talking about. And how about what we talked before in the podcast. So yeah, that was an interesting observation. I really liked it.
Yeah, but I've said this before, and this isn't new. This is something that always comes down to me, and I mean, every time I mention it, I kind of get that. Yeah, but think of the time. So yeah, I get it. I'm not saying that this is something unique and something specifically done here, but it is kind of an interesting point in my opinion, just for the sake that, let's just say, to make an argument here, that's not at all what they're going for. Probably not. But ultimately, it does kind of come back to that, which we talked about earlier, of where you will, at the end of the day, while I feel like maybe it's just to give, the guy, for example, a place in the story, but it's but you can make this argument throughout the entire time, because these girls, they are badass, they're smart, they're whatever. No one can trick them, except for the guy. And he can do so no matter where they go to hide. He knows where they're going, and he will always have prepared wires and, tapping equipment. That will always be pre-installed no matter where they try to escape to. They cannot escape him for the life of them. He knows where they sleep. He knows if they snore. He knows what fucking underwear they have got on.
Well, he does stalk them.
Yeah, I know. But that's kind of but it's not even just stalking them. It's the fact that he is always 5 steps ahead, no matter what they try to do.
That's true. Yeah,
even when they go to do that fucking that gun trade. The moment she gets into this office, who was in there? That guy's there. He's been beat up and caught. It's he is fucking 5 steps ahead of them at all times. And it's we're led to believe that these are badass and capable women who are capable of going up against a fucking deadly ex-military Soviet Union military fucking chick who can kill anyone at the drop of a hat. And then you have to believe that this guy is still somehow 5 steps ahead of everyone there. And the only reason why he can't save them before at the end is because he got blown up and injured.
And he still saved him.
Yep. That's what I mean. It's you have this series about badass women, but ultimately you can't have a badass woman without having at least an equally badass or even more badass male character in it.
I don't know. There were a couple incidents. I mean, that wasn't the first instance where Gunsmith Cats showed Raleigh being saved by Bill Collins.
Know.
Because there was that scene in the warehouse where she she fell and dropped her gun.
I know. I'm aware. But it becomes kind of that point again. It's you make women badass up to a point, but ultimately they will still need help. Which, fine, I'm not saying you can't do that, But then, what's to stop that from happening in a, awesome guys being awesome show? Because at the end of the day, they will never need help for anything. Especially if there's women there. Actually, women just bring them even more trouble that they have to fix.
You make a good point. No argument there.
Yeah, it was a good point.
Yeah. The show does portray Bill Collins trying to gain Rowley's respect throughout the whole show. Now, whether that's just because he wants to bang her, let's not talk about that.
I mean,
but
that
is
be
a
up to
recurring
interpretation. That doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay. That I feel Bill Collins trying to gain the respect from Rowley from the get-go was the point. Hence, I didn't think of this until I saw that line at the end again. Just like, oh, you think I'm useful now? Because that's kind of what he was wanting to get out of her the whole time.
Well, yes, he did. He absolutely tried to show himself useful, and that's not my problem. My problem isn't that he is involved. My problem isn't that he can help. My problem isn't that he actually works as a sidekick character, a side character who can actually benefit the story. Unlike if this was to be reversed the other way, because the woman cannot help, but in the opposite. But again, that's neither here nor there. Doing that is fine, but it kind of it becomes this problem where, because they have essentially made him like he's not just useful to them in dire situations, he is, like I said, in terms of like spying on them and tapping their phones and computers and everything, he is like 5 steps ahead of them at any given time. They cannot give him the slip for any reason. He will always know where they're going.
I got the feeling that he needed their help. Part of his job is to know the illegal gun trade. So to me, it was shown enough that he had done so much diligent research on these two to know everything about them. Hence why everything was pre-bugged and whatnot. And he needed that. He needed to know all that in order to blackmail them. Hence the story.
Well, yes, he did. There's stuff he needed to know in order to blackmail them. I do agree, which is from the start, because he kind of comes in and he's like, "So I'm here to inspect your store," and they're just like, "Yeah, well, we have all the paperwork, so there's nothing else." And then he's just like busting out, well, don't you have unlicensed weaponry? Don't you have a friend who's very glad in illegal explosives, who was also used in a case where we just arrested a criminal?
Right. Don't you have things that are not in the store?
Yep. And that's fine. I have no problem. I have no problem with him knowing stuff. I have no problem with him being able to track them down. I have a problem with you lending to believe that somebody is, very badass, somebody is very, very capable, yet at the same time, you need to have this character who can both outsmart them and at the same time be behind them, like try to catch up to them. And I feel like that becomes a bit of an issue because he is both. He needs to catch up to them. He wants their respect, but at the same time, he can save them whenever it's necessary.
Well, they do kind of only look at him as, say, a company guy.
Yeah,
that's all they look at him as, because he seems to be very competent at his job, and that's about it. To Rowley, that's all he is.
Yeah.
I don't know, I personally didn't see too much of an issue with it, but with other points you bring up, to me that's kind of the mindset that we are in today, looking back on this.
Oh no, absolutely.
Because if just putting, like, when I watch these things, I put my mind like it was in the 80s, which is what I think why I like this so much more, and am so more willing to accept a lot of its flaws. just look at City Hunter with this blood-boiling, womanizing dude. If I look at it in today's mindset, that show's horrible. Can't get past it.
Yeah, but like, it's not about
even the character.
It's not about.
It's not horrible. That's not.
It's not about going in with the '80s mindset of today's mindset. It is just what Todd is saying. Like, who always gave the last shot? Who always shot last? It was always Bill. Bill was the guy who always shot the last bullet. And as he was shooting the last bullet, he would say something cool. Trying to take the credit for that. Doesn't matter if you were in the 80s, if you were watching that in the 90s, doesn't matter if you were watching that in 2000s, 2010s. It is like...
Okay, just...
Please, you can...
Just for... Yeah.
Go. No, you can talk. Don't worry.
Okay. Just for just for argument's sake, let's just just always do this because I feel like it's always fun to do. Let's just switch the roles. Let's say that this was all about Bill. He was the badass. He was the one who was running around doing all these things. And then, in the end, like Hickey said, in the end, you would always have a woman firing the last shot and being the badass. I feel like there would be a lot of raised eyebrows, especially from guys, who would be like, "What the hell? Why will the woman always take the credit?" Right? It's kind of that, because, like I said, ultimately there are exceptions, and I'm not saying this is something all over the board, but when you have, just to go back to my earlier argument, when you have the badass guy doing badass things, when does he get saved? That is extremely rare. He usually has to save himself.
Now that I think about it in Gunsmith Cats, I don't remember... I remember Bill being saved only once, and that was that kind of get-even exchange with Raleigh in the warehouse in episode 1.
Yep. Which was fine. I liked that.
Yeah, he was pinned down. She saved him, then she fell, and then he saved her, and he's like, now we're even.
Yep, exactly. And that's kind of, again, they always have to get even because they need to be on the same playing field. Like they need to be equals.
Yeah, and then you can cut to episode 2 before the car chase, where you have the initial meeting between Raleigh and Radnoff, and you had Bill show up and I think he shot the gun out of Radnoff's hand.
Yeah, he did that. And he was like, "Did you miss me,
and
babe?"
that was now him. Yeah, did you miss me, babe?
Yeah. No, like, and again, just to go back to probably take it back then, switch it, go back to the whole where it's not about women with guns, it's not about badass women. It's about badass men again. And it's like, you wouldn't have a woman do that to a man because that's emasculating. The man will have to figure out a way to get out of this situation by himself. Right? It's like, oh, you're about to get killed? Well, you better figure out... I mean, I know you have that girl assistant with you, but she is preoccupied with stuff and can't help you right now. So if you want to survive, you're going to have to figure out a way to get out of this by yourself. And by the way, afterwards, you're also going to have to save her because she's in some trouble.
Yeah,
and then say
all right.
A cool one-liner.
So we're kind of reiterating ourselves at this point here. Scores, guys. Combine the shows.
Wait.
Combine them?
One score for both of them?
Combine them into one score.
No, let's say the scores we gave and then we can combine them.
All right, fine. I gave both an 8 because I'm simple.
Fucking hell. Jesus. I gave Writing Bean a 7 and the Gunsmith Cats a 6.
Well, I gave both.
Interesting.
I think I gave both a 7, but I'm not sure.
We're all in the same ballpark of each other, it seems.
Except you're an 8.
What, 6, 7, 8?
Yeah.
Fine, 8. Good, very good.
The lowest and highest scores gets removed, okay?
All right, so it gets a 7.
Yep.
They get a 7.
So I won.
I'm down with that.
Awesome.
I can agree. So Hickey won.
My opinion.
Hickey won the podcast.
My opinion is the best opinion. Ray.
For this time.
For this one.
Come
get
get
something
me,
tells me
bitch.
Tori's gonna win the Akage no An one.
You think I'm going to win the Akage no An one? I don't know.
Alright. So our next episode is, as you guessed it, over Akage no An, the 1979 World Masterpiece Theater anime. About a little girl in Nova Scotia and from Nova Scotia on Prince Edward Island.
From Green Gables, yes.
Green Gables.
Green Gables on PEI. Yeah. So we're talking about a ginger Canadian here. The next one.
Yay!
And for those that want to pre-watch that, of course, as we do, we spoil the shit out of shows because they're very old and you're probably not going to watch them anyways. Anne of Green Gables is 50 episodes, so get cracking if you do watch them.
Yeah.
You can find the Red Leaf Retrocast and the Worldwide Weebs on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Smart Radio, across many others. You can hit me up on Twitter at BowlingJD, Red Leaf Retrocast, Tori at ToriProx.
Extra Prox, yes.
Extra Prox. And hit us up if you want to join our Discord. Just send us messages on Twitter accordingly, and you can just join. It's a small community that we just built. We talk about nonsense, lots of pictures a lot of the times now. And you can get our PlayStation Network names or Steam names or what have you, so you can play Soul Worker with Tori and Hickey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be part of the Flying Potatoes.
And on that note, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you all.
Peace.